Hello. Are you there? Can Sudevi hear me? Oh, okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, Harbol. I was gonna read the Srimad Bhagavatam. I just saw your message, Krishna Kumari. I thought you were Sudevi. How'd you hear about this stream? How'd you know I was doing this? That's weird. Can you... Here, I'm going to put a number up. I don't know why... Anyway, I want someone to call this number. And I want to see if I can hear you when you call me, because my headphones aren't working. Oh, right, Jim's got that appointment. So Davy's just tuned in as well. Well, maybe Sudevi can call the number, because she could use a different phone. The number should be up. It's an Oregon number. It's my Google Voice number. Can you hear me? I cannot hear you. Keep talk. Don't hang up though if I can't hear you. I wonder if my mom can hear you. Ah. Huh. Can you hear Sudevi? Sudevi, can you hear yourself? Yeah, it doesn't work if I can't hear myself at the same time. Well, okay, I'm gonna hang up there. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, hello. How you doing?
Oh, hey, Jim.
Jim here.
How's it going?
We saw a number on the screen, but I think it's a...
Yeah, that's my Google Voice number.
Okay, okay.
So let me
Well,
see
I'm
if...
calling it. I'm sitting here with Kim at my doctor's, and she asked me to call the number, so I'm calling the number and
It worked. Sudevi had just called me.
doing it.
We're
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if can you look at my mom's phone and can she hear you talking also?
No, I don't think so. I think she's what? She's.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. It's
Hello, hello, hello.
it's a delayed. It takes like a minute. It's a delayed by like a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I delayed maybe 30 seconds or so.
Oh, okay. Cool. So Davey's texting me on Facebook saying I can hear Jim.
Oh, okay.
Right now it's me, my mom, and Sudevi
Okay.
watching the live stream. So this is live on YouTube.
I see, okay. Yeah, she said she turned her phone on and there you were sitting there videoing, so anyway.
Yeah, that's weird. I didn't like notify her or anything.
Yeah, it's funny. Okay, well, I'll hang up and just watch you here on the video. So anyways,
Okay.
talk
Well,
to you later. Okay.
thanks for trying
Yeah,
calling. Yeah.
of course. Hope you're feeling better with your cold stuff soon. So anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, gradually. It's been a tough one.
Yeah, maybe it's about 10 to 15 seconds delayed, I would say. Without
Okay.
time in it, that is about 15 seconds. Anyway, okay, talk to you later. Okay, bye.
Bye. Okay. Now I know that the calling function works. I just had to change some setting within Google Voice. Well, this is pretty cool. Got a basic thing going on here. Like my plan was to just read the Bhagavatam for I don't know. I just thought it'd be a fun thing to do. Read the Bhagavatam and for Sudevi upstairs and see if we could do this. It's taken me a while to get this going. I had to download a software and sign up and get that going, but I finally got it figured out. Okay, see you later. You still watching, Sudevi? I see someone is there. Two people watching. Myself and someone else. You tried to call me twice and it said that it's sorry. Did you try to call me or try to chat on YouTube? Really? Jim just called me at that number. Maybe you dialed it wrong. You did contact me earlier, and it was gonna work. I just didn't get the speaker settings correct. Huh, that's weird. It worked a moment ago. I'll call you. Actually, I don't know if that would work. Maybe I have a phone. Oh, okay. Um, Okay, I'll read. It's just really weird sitting here talking to myself and I can't even hear it in the microphone. I guess it's something you get used to. And then nobody's responding. It feels like nobody's out there. But I see that you're there. Watching now. 2 people watching right now. Okay, so I'll read. Hey, let me ask you a question. Do you think should I share this, share it on Facebook and see if other people want to watch? Will that be a good idea? I don't even know what the Bhagavatam's gonna say. Hey, there's Sudevi. Travis is gone. Okay, I'll share it on Facebook. Um, oh, where are you going? Okay, well, that's plenty of time. I'll probably just read like half an hour or something. And what? No, 0 people are watching? Is that true? My analytics is messed up. Oh, are you going to that movie? Okay, anyway, I'm just gonna read. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I was gonna share it, but the picture of me looks terrible. See if anybody cares. Okay, put it on Facebook. Okay, so reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 9, text number 16. Chapter is entitled Dhruva Maharaj Returns Home. Translation: My dear Lord, in your impersonal manifestation of Brahman, there are always 2 opposing elements. Knowledge and ignorance. Your multi-energies are continually manifest, but the impersonal Brahman, which is undivided, original, changeless, unlimited, and blissful, is the cause of the material manifestation. Because you are the same impersonal Brahman, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Purport. In the Brahma Samhita it is said that the unlimited impersonal Brahman is the effulgence of the transcendental body of Govinda. In that unlimited, effulgent aura of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are innumerable universes with innumerable planets of different categories. Although the Supreme Person is the original cause of all causes, his impersonal effulgence, known as Brahman, is the immediate cause of the material manifestation. Dhruva Maharaj therefore offered his respectful obeisances unto the impersonal feature of the Lord. One who realizes this impersonal feature can enjoy the unchangeable Brahmananda, described here as spiritual bliss. Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur describes that this impersonal feature, or Brahman manifestation of the Supreme Lord, is meant for persons who are essentially very advanced, but still not able to understand the personal features or variegatedness of the spiritual world. Such devotees are known as Jnana-mishra bhaktas, or devotees whose devotional service is mixed with empiric knowledge. Because the impersonal Brahman realization is a partial understanding of the absolute truth, Dhruva Maharaj offers his respectful obeisances. Because it's kind of weird if I just stick in my head at the camera, huh? It is said that this impersonal Brahman is the distant realization of the absolute truth. Although apparently Brahman seems to be devoid of energy, factually it has different energies working under the headings of knowledge and ignorance. Out of these different energies there is continually a manifestation of vidya and avidya. Vidya and avidya are very nicely described in Ishopanishad. It is said there that sometimes, due to avidya, or a poor fund of knowledge, one accepts the absolute truth as ultimately impersonal. But in fact the impersonal and personal realizations develop in proportion to the development of devotional service. The more we develop our devotional service, the more closely we approach the absolute truth, which, in the beginning, when we realize the absolute truth from a distant place, is manifest as impersonal. That's pretty cool. People in general who are under the influence of avidya Shakti or Maya, have neither knowledge nor devotion. But when a person who is little advanced and is therefore called a Jnani advances even more, he is in the category of Jnana-mishra bhakta, or a devotee whose love is mixed with empiric knowledge. When he is still further advanced, he can realize the absolute truth is a person with multi-energies. And an advanced devotee can understand the Lord and his creative energy. As soon as one accepts the creative energy of the absolute truth, the 6 opulences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are also understood. Devotees who are still further advanced in full knowledge can understand the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. Only on that platform can one fully enjoy transcendental bliss. An example is given in this connection by Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur of a person proceeding towards a destination. As he proceeds, he sees the destination from a distant place, just as we see a city from a distance. At that time, he simply understands that the city is situated at a distance. When, however, he comes still nearer, he sees the domes and flags. But as soon as he enters the city, he sees various paths, gardens, lakes, and marketplaces with shops and persons buying. He sees varieties of cinema houses, and he sees dancing and jubilation. When a person actually enters the city and personally sees the activities of the city, he becomes satisfied. Text 17. Translation. My Lord, O Supreme Lord, you are the supreme personified form of all benediction. Therefore, for one who abides in your devotional service with no other desire, worshipping your lotus feet is better than becoming king and lording it over a kingdom. That is the benediction of worshipping your lotus feet. To ignorant devotees like me, you are the causelessly merciful maintainer, just like a cow who takes care of the newly born calf by supplying milk and giving it protection from attack. Purport. Dhruva Maharaj was cognizant of the defective nature of his own devotional service. Pure devotional service is without material form and is not covered by mental speculation or fruitive activities. Pure devotional service is therefore called ahaituki, unmotivated. Dhruva Maharaj knew that he had come to worship the Lord in devotional service with the motive to get the kingdom of his father. Such an adulterated devotee can never see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. He therefore felt very grateful for the causeless mercy of the Lord. The Lord is so merciful that not only does he fulfill the desires of a devotee who is driven by ignorance and desires for material benefit, but he also gives such a devotee all protection, just as a cow gives milk to a newly born calf. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the Lord gives intelligence to the constantly engaged devotee so that he may gradually approach the Lord without difficulty. A devotee must be very sincere in his devotional service. Then, although there may be many things wrong on the devotee's part, Krishna will guide him and gradually elevate him to the highest position of devotional service. The Lord is addressed herein by Dhruva Maharaj as Purusharthamurti, the ultimate goal of life. Generally, Purushartha is taken to mean execution of a type of religious principle or worship of God in order to get material benediction. Prayers for material benediction are intended for satisfying the senses, and when one is frustrated and cannot fully satisfy the senses in spite of all endeavor, he desires liberation or freedom from material existence. These activities are generally called Purushartha, but actually the ultimate goal is to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is called Panchama Purushartha, the ultimate goal of life. Lord Chaitanya therefore taught us not to ask from the Supreme Personality of Godhead any benediction such as material wealth, popularity, or a good wife. One should simply pray to the Lord to be constantly engaged in his transcendental loving service. Dhruva Maharaj, being cognizant of his desire for material profit, wanted protection from the Lord so that he might not be misled or deviated from the path of devotional service by material desires. Text 18. The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, when Dhruva Maharaj, who had good intentions in his heart, finished his prayer, the Supreme Lord, the Personality of Godhead, who is very kind to his devotees and servants, congratulated him, speaking as follows. The Personality of Godhead said, My dear Dhruva, son of the king, you have executed pious vows, and I also know the desire within your heart. Although your desire is very ambitious and very difficult to fulfill, I shall favor you with this fulfillment. All good fortune unto you. Purport: The Lord is so merciful to his devotees that he immediately said to Dhruva Maharaj, quote, Let there be all good fortune for you. Unquote. The fact is that Dhruva Maharaj was very much afraid in his mind, for he had aspired after material benefit in discharging his devotional service, and this was hampering him from reaching the stage of love of God. In the Bhagavad Gita 2:44 it is said, Bhogeshvarya prasaktanam. Those who are addicted to material pleasure cannot be attracted to devotional service. It was true that at heart Dhruva Maharaj wanted a kingdom that would be far better than Brahmaloka. This was a natural desire for a Kshatriya. He was also only 5 years old, and in his childish way he desired to have a kingdom far greater than his fathers, grandfathers, or great-grandfathers. His father, Uttanapada, was the son of Manu, and Manu was the son of Lord Brahma. Dhruva wanted to excel all these great family members. The Lord knew Dhruva Maharaj's childish ambition, but how was it possible to offer Dhruva a position more exalted than Lord Brahma's? The Lord assured Dhruva Maharaj that Dhruva would not be bereft of the Lord's love. He encouraged Dhruva not to be worried that he childishly had material desires, and at the same time had the pure aspiration to be a great devotee. Generally, the Lord does not award a pure devotee material opulence, even though he may desire it. But Dhruva Maharaj's case was different. The Lord knew that he was such a great devotee that in spite of having material opulence, he would never be deviated from love of God. This example illustrates that a highly qualified devotee can have the facility of material enjoyment and at the same time execute love of God. This, however, was a special case for Dhruva Maharaj. That's an interesting point. It's kind of the same thing is there in Krishna book about Sudama Brahmana, where Prabhupada says that when a devotee becomes mature, then like a father who has an immature child, the father doesn't give him very much wealth, but when he grows up and becomes mature, then the father opens the storehouse and gives him all the wealth. So, there it is again. A devotee becomes advanced, and Krishna has no problem giving him any type of material facility. And since this was Dhruva Maharaj's kind of original desire, Krishna was, in the form of Vishnu here, is willing to give that facility. A special case. Okay, so text 20 and 21. The Supreme Personality of Godhead continued, My dear Dhruva, I shall award you the glowing planet known as the Pole Star, which will continue to exist even after the dissolution at the end of the millennium. No one has ever ruled this planet, which is surrounded by all the solar systems, planets, and stars. All the luminaries in the sky circumambulate this planet, just as bulls tread around a central pole for the purpose of crushing grains. Keeping the pole star to their right, all the stars inhabited by the great sages like Dharma, Agni, Kashyapa, and Shukra circumambulate this planet, which continues to exist even after the dissolution of all others. Purport. Although the pole star existed before its occupation by Dhruva Maharaj, it had no predominating deity. Dhruva, our pole star, Dhruva Loka, our pole star, is the center for all other stars and solar systems. For all of them circle around Dhruva Loka just as a bull crushes grain by walking around and around a central pole. Dhruva wanted the best of all planets, and although it was a childish prayer, the Lord satisfied his demand. A small child may demand something from his father which his father has never given to anyone else. Yet, out of affection, the father offers it to the child. Similarly, this unique planet, Dhruva Loka, was offered to Maharaj Dhruva. The specific significance of this planet is that until the entire universe is annihilated, this planet will remain, even during the devastation which takes place during the night of Lord Brahma. There are two kinds of dissolutions, one during the night of Lord Brahma and one at the end of Lord Brahma's life. At the end of Brahma's life, selected personalities go back home, back to Godhead. Dhruva Maharaj is one of them. The Lord assured Dhruva that he would exist beyond the partial dissolution of this universe. Thus, at the end of the complete dissolution, Dhruva Maharaj would go directly to Vaikuntha Loka, to a spiritual planet in the spiritual sky. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur comments in this connection that Dhruva Loka is one of the lokas like Svetadvip, Mathura, and Dwarka. They are all eternal places in the kingdom of Godhead, which is described in Bhagavad Gita, Tadhama Paramam, and in the Vedas. Om Tad Vishnaho Paramam Padam Sada Pashanti Suryaha. The words Parastat Kalpa Vasinam, transcendental to the planets inhabited after the dissolution, refer to the Vaikuntha planets. In other words, Dhruva Maharaja's promotion to the Vaikuntha Lokas was guaranteed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Where's the... Is that it? Oh, there we go. Hold on, I was gonna post it to our Vaishnava book reading group. Okay, so I'll do another 20 minutes. I'm gonna make a post on our Vaishnava book reading book club. I was gonna share one more. What was that called before? Sadhu-sanga group? Like the group message? And I know we made a group, but I mean... Anyway, I did it. I'll have to look that up later. Okay. That'd be a good place to start getting a little bit more of a crowd. Post it to the our book group there. Maybe Sunflower will be around and pick it up. Okay, let's Okay. Text 22. After your father goes to the forest and awards you the rule of his kingdom, you will rule continuously the entire world for 36,000 years, and all your senses will continue to be as strong as they are now. You will never become old. Purport. In the Satya Yuga, people generally lived for 100,000 years. Dhruva Maharaj's ruling the world for 36,000 years was quite possible in those days. Sorry, trying to get comfortable here. Text 23. The Lord continued, "Sometime in the future your brother, Uttama, will go hunting in the forest, and while absorbed in hunting he will be killed." Yeah, it's okay. I'll be off here soon anyway. Sloppiness is part of it. Your stepmother, Suruchi, being maddened upon the death of her son, will go to search him out in the forest, but she will be devoured by a forest fire. Well, purport. Dhruva Maharaj came to the forest to search out the Supreme Personality of Godhead with a revenging spirit against his stepmother. His stepmother had insulted Dhruva, who was not an ordinary person, but a great Vaishnava. An offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava is the greatest offense in this world. Because of having insulted Dhruva Maharaj, Suruchi would become mad upon the death of her son and would enter a forest fire, and thus her life would be ended. This was specifically mentioned by the Lord to Dhruva because he was determined for revenge against her. From this we should take the lesson that we should never try to insult a Vaishnava. Not only should we not insult a Vaishnava, but we should not insult anyone unnecessarily. When Suruchi insulted Dhruva Maharaj, he was just a child. She, of course, did not know that Dhruva was a great recognized Vaishnava, and so her offense was committed unknowingly. When one serves a Vaishnava unknowingly, one still gets the good result. And if one unknowingly insults a Vaishnava, one suffers the bad result. A Vaishnava is especially favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pleasing him or displeasing him directly affects the pleasure and displeasure of the Supreme Lord. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur in his 8 stanzas of prayer to the spiritual master has sung, Yasya prasada bhagavat prasadaha. By pleasing the spiritual master, who is a pure Vaishnava, one pleases the personality of Godhead. But if one pleases the spiritual master, one does not know. But if one displeases the spiritual master, one does not know where he is going. Very dangerous. Text 24. The Lord continued, I am the heart of all sacrifices. You will be able to perform many great sacrifices and also give great charities. In this way you will be able to enjoy the blessings of material happiness in this life, and at the time of your death you will be able to remember me. Jai. Purport. The most important factor in this verse is the Lord's instructions regarding how to remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead at the end of life. Ante Narayana Smritihi. The result of whatever we do in executing spiritual activities is successful if we can remember Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This program of constant remembrance can be disturbed by many things. But Dhruva Maharaj's life would be so pure, as assured by the Lord himself, that Dhruva would never forget him. Thus, at the time of his death, he would remember the Supreme Lord, and therefore his death, and before his death, he would enjoy this material world, not by sense gratification, but by performing great sacrifices. As stated in the Vedas, when one performs great sacrifices, he must give charity, not only to the Brahmanas, but also to the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. It is assured here that Dhruva Maharaj would be able to perform such activities. In this age of Kali, however, the great sacrifice is performance of Sankirtan Yagya. Our Krishna consciousness movement is designed to teach people and to learn ourselves the exact instruction of the personality of Godhead. In this way we shall continuously perform the Sankirtan Yagya and continuously chant the Hare Krishna mantra. At the end of our lives we shall certainly be able to remember Krishna, and our program of life will be successful. In this age, distribution of prasad has replaced distribution of money. No one has sufficient money to distribute, but if we distribute Krishna Prasad as far as possible, this is more valuable than distribution of money. Text 25. The personality of Godhead continued, My dear Dhruva, after your material life in this body, you will go to my planet, which has always offered obeisances by the residents of all other planetary systems. It is situated above the planets of the 7 rishis, and having gone there, you will never have to come back again to this material world. Purport. In this verse, the word Navartate is very significant. The Lord says, quote, You will not come back to this material world, for you will reach Matsthanam, my abode. Unquote. Therefore, Dhruvaloka, or the pole star, is the abode of Lord Vishnu within this material world. Upon it there is an ocean of milk, and within that ocean there is an island known as Svetadweep. It is clearly indicated that this planet is situated above the 7 planetary systems of the rishis, and because this planet is Vishnu Loka, it is worshipped by all other planetary systems. It may be questioned here what will happen to the planet known as Dhruvaloka at the time of the dissolution of this universe. The answer is simple. Dhruvaloka remains, like other Vaikuntha Lokas beyond this universe. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur has commented in this connection that the very word Navartate indicates that this planet is eternal. Text 26. Check the time here. The great sage Maitreya said, after being worshipped and honored by the boy, Dhruva Maharaj, and after offering him his abode, Lord Vishnu on the back of Garuda returned to his abode, as Dhruva Maharaj looked on. Purport. From this verse it appears that Lord Vishnu awarded Dhruva Maharaj the same abode in which he resides. His abode is described in the Bhagavad Gita 15.6. Yad gatva na nirvartante tadthama paramamama. Text 27. Translation. Despite having achieved the desired result of his determination by worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord, Dhruva Maharaj was not very pleased. Thus he returned to his home. Purport. By worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord in devotional service, as instructed by Narada Muni, Dhruva Maharaj achieved the desired result. His desire was to get a very exalted position, excelling that of his father, grandfather, and great-grandfather, and although it was a somewhat childish determination, because Dhruva Maharaj was nothing but a small child, Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is so kind and merciful that he fulfilled Dhruva's desire. Dhruva Maharaj wanted a residence more exalted than any ever occupied by anyone else in his family. Therefore, he was offered the planet in which the Lord personally resides, and his determination was completely satisfied. Still, when Dhruva Maharaj returned home, he was not very much pleased, for although in pure devotional service there is no demand from the Lord, because of his childish nature he had demanded something. Thus, although the Lord also fulfilled his desire, he was not very pleased. Rather, he was ashamed that he had demanded something from the Lord, for he should not have done this. Text 28. Sri Vidura inquired, My dear Brahmana, the abode of the Lord is very difficult to attain. It can be attained only by pure devotional service, which alone pleases the most affectionate, merciful Lord. Dhruva Maharaj achieved this position even in one life, and he was very wise and conscientious. Why then was he not very pleased? Purport. Saint Vidura's inquiry is very relevant. The word artavit, which refers to one who knows how to discriminate between reality and unreality is very significant in this connection. An Artavit is also called Paramahamsa. A Paramahamsa accepts only the active principle of everything, just as a swan accepts only the milk from a mixture of water and milk. A Paramahamsa accepts only the Supreme Personality of Godhead as his life and soul, neglecting all external material things. Dhruva Maharaj was in this category, and due to his determination, he achieved the result he desired. But still, when he returned home, he was not very pleased. Text 29. Maitreya answered, Dhruva Maharaj's heart, which was pierced by the arrows of the harsh words of his stepmother, was greatly aggrieved, and thus, when he fixed upon his goal of life, he did not forget her misbehavior. He did not demand actual liberation from this material world, but at the end of his devotional service, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared before him, he was simply ashamed of the material demands he had in his mind. Purport. This important verse has been discussed by many stalwart commentators. Why was Dhruva Maharaj not very pleased, even after achieving the goal of his life's desire? Well, after achieving the goal of life he desired. A pure devotee is always free from any kind of material desires. In the material world, one's material desires are almost demoniac. One thinks of others as one's enemies. One thinks of revenge against one's enemies. One aspires to become the topmost leader or topmost person in the material world, and thus one competes with all others. This has been described in Bhagavad Gita, 16th chapter, as asuric. A pure devotee has no demand from the Lord. His only concern is to serve the Lord sincerely and seriously, and he is not at all concerned about what will happen in the future. And the Mukunda Malastotra, King Kulashekara, author of the book, states in his prayer, quote, My dear Lord, I do not want any position of sense gratification within this material world. I simply want to engage in your service perpetually. Unquote. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya in his Shikshastika also prayed, My Lord, I do not want any amount of material wealth. I do not want any number of materialistic followers. Nor do I want any attractive wife to enjoy. The only thing I want is that I may be engaged life after life in your service. Unquote. Lord Chaitanya did not pray even for mukti, or liberation. In this verse, Maitreya replied to Vidura that Dhruva Maharaj, influenced by a revengeful attitude towards his insulting stepmother, did not think of mukti, nor did he know what mukti was. He therefore failed to aim for mukti as his goal in life. But a pure devotee also does not want liberation. He is a soul completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord, and he does not demand anything from the Lord. This position was realized by Dhruva Maharaj when he saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead present personally before him, because he was elevated to the Vasudeva platform. The Vasudeva platform refers to the stage at which material contamination is conspicuous by its absence only, or in other words, where there is no question of the material modes of nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, and one can therefore see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because on the Vasudeva platform one can see God face to face, the Lord is also called Vasudeva. Dhruva Maharaj's demand was for a position so exalted that it was never enjoyed even by Lord Brahma, his great-grandfather. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is so affectionate and kind towards his devotee, especially to a devotee like Dhruva Maharaj, who went to render devotional service in the forest alone at the age of only 5 years, that although the motive might be impure, the Lord does not consider the motive. He is concerned with the service. But if a devotee has a particular motive, the Lord directly or indirectly knows it, and therefore he does not leave the devotee's material desires unfulfilled. These are some of the special favors by the Lord to the devotee. That's interesting. especially the part about he doesn't pay attention to the motive. He focuses on the service. That's so interesting. Dhruva Maharaj was offered Dhruvaloka, a planet that was never resided upon by any conditioned soul, even Brahma, although the topmost living creature within this universe was not allowed to enter Dhruvaloka. Whenever there is a crisis within this universe, the demigods go to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kshirodakshai Vishnu, and they stand on the beach of the Milk Ocean. So the fulfillment of Dhruva Maharaj's demand, a position more exalted than that of even his great-grandfather Brahma, was offered to him. Here in this verse, the Lord is described as Muktipati, which means one under whose lotus feet there are all kinds of mukti. There are 5 kinds of mukti: Sayuja, Sarupya, Salokya, Samipya, and Sarshti. Out of these 5 muktis, which can be achieved by any person engaged in devotional service to the Lord, the one which is known as Sayuja is generally demanded by Mayavadi philosophers. They demand to become one with the impersonal Brahman effulgence of the Lord. In the opinion of many scholars, this Sayuja Mukti, although counted among the 5 kinds of Mukti, is not actually Mukti, because from Sayuja Mukti one may fall down again to this material world. This information we have from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.2.32, wherein it is said, Patantyadha, which means they again fall down. The monist philosophers, after executing severe austerities, merges into the impersonal effulgence of the Lord. But the living entity always wants reciprocation in loving affairs. Therefore, although the monist philosopher is elevated to the status of being one with the effulgence of the Lord, because there is no facility for associating with the Lord and rendering service unto him, he again falls into this material world, and his service propensity is satisfied by materialistic welfare activities like humanitarianism, altruism, and philanthropy. There are many instances of such fall-downs, even for great sannyasis in the Mayavada school. Therefore, Vaishnava philosophers do not accept Sayuja Mukti to be within the category of Mukti. According to them, Mukti means transferal to the loving service of the Lord from one's position of serving Maya. Lord Chaitanya also says in this connection that the constitutional position of a living entity is to render service to the Lord. That is real mukti. When one is situated in his original position, giving up artificial positions, he is called mukta, or liberated. In the Bhagavad Gita, this is confirmed. Anyone who engages in rendering transcendental loving service to the Lord is considered to be mukta, or brahmabhuta. It is said in Bhagavad Gita that a devotee is considered to be on the Brahmabhuta platform when he has no material contamination. In the Padma Purana, this is also confirmed. Mukti means engagement in the service of the Lord. The great sage Maitreya explained that Dhruva Maharaj did not desire in the beginning to engage in the service of the Lord, but he wanted an exalted position better than his great-grandfathers. This is more or less not service to the Lord, but service to the senses. Even if one gets the position of Brahma, the most exalted position in the material world, he is a conditioned soul. Srila Prabodhananda Sarasvati says that if one is elevated to real pure devotional service, he considers even great demigods like Brahma and Indra to be on an equal level with an insignificant insect. The reason is that an insignificant insect has a desire for sense gratification, and even a great personality like Lord Brahma also wants to dominate this material nature. Sense gratification means domination over material nature. The whole competition between conditioned souls is based upon domination of this material nature. Modern scientists are proud of their knowledge because they are discovering new methods to dominate the laws of material nature. They think that this is the advancement of human civilization. The more they can dominate the material laws, the more advanced they think they are. Dhruva Maharaj's propensity in the beginning was like that. He wanted to dominate this material world in a greater position than Lord Brahma. Therefore, elsewhere it is described that after the appearance of the Lord, when Dhruva Maharaj thought and compared his determination to his final reward, he realized that he had wanted a few particles of broken glass, but instead had received many diamonds. As soon as he saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face, he immediately became conscious of the unimportance of his demand from the Lord to have an exalted position better than Lord Brahma's. When Dhruva Maharaj became situated on the Vasudeva platform due to seeing the Lord face to face, all his material contamination was cleared. Thus he became ashamed of what his demands were and what he had achieved. He was very much ashamed to think that although he had gone to Madhuvan, giving up the kingdom of his father, he had gotten a spiritual master like Narada Muni. He was still thinking of revenge against his stepmother and wanting to occupy an exalted post within this material world. These were the causes for his moroseness even after he received all the desired benedictions from the Lord. When Dhruva Maharaj factually saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there was no question of a revengeful attitude towards his stepmother, nor any aspiration to lord it over the material nature. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead is so kind that he knew that Dhruva Maharaj wanted these. Speaking before Dhruva Maharaj, he used the word Vedaham because when Dhruva Maharaj demanded material benefits, the Lord was present within his heart, and so he knew everything. The Lord always knows everything a man is thinking. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita also. Vedaham samantitani. The Lord fulfilled all Dhruva Maharaj's desires. His revengeful attitude towards his stepmother and stepbrother was satisfied. His desire for a more exalted position than that of his great-grandfather was also fulfilled, and at the same time his eternal position in Dhruvaloka was fixed. Although Dhruva Maharaj's achievement of an eternal planet was not conceived of by him, Krishna thought, quote, "What will Dhruva do with an exalted position within this material world?" Unquote. Therefore he gave Dhruva Maharaj the opportunity to rule this material world for 36,000 years with unchangeable senses, and the chance to perform many great sacrifices, and thus become the most reputed king within this material world. And after finishing with all this material enjoyment, Dhruva would be promoted to the spiritual world, which includes Dhruvaloka. Okay, so I'll stop there. Thanks for watching.